Hello everyone, welcome to the digital beer streams for What's in the Glass, and today is Tuesday 28th of April, and I'm wearing one of my favorite t-shirts in here. I'm gonna tell you the story in a second. So digital beer stream, What's in the Glass, and if you have been lucky enough to watch the digital beat stream in the last 3 weeks, you've been noticed that there are some different type of focus for the digital beat streams. Every single day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, we have a different focus, and today is the coach stream. So coach stream is very simple. It's a 30, 35, 40 we'll see minutes Tuesday digital beer education program. So for the digital beer education program, we are just asking, experts to deliver some insights into the world of beer. So we have different focuses all the time, and today we're going to speak about a beautiful thing, the beer-centric attitude. So I'm gonna tell you in a second what's about. Every week I'm trying to, say thank you to some humans out there. And this week, I really feel like that the hospitality industry, as much as the music industry, as much as the music venues out there, really deserve a bit of love. And we all pretty much don't know what's going to happen within the industry, both the music and the beer one. So we should spread love. We should, let everyone feel that they're really important parts of these words, cultural words, happy word, whatever you want to call it. And so thank you to all of you guys. I hope your venues, your bars, your pubs, your breweries are going to keep going until, we're going to have better days. And I'm sure you will. So please be strong, put out your strength, show everyone all our industries what are capable to do. And I'm listening the Beastie Boys for a good reason, tell you in a second. So this is the week that I'm gonna drink mostly IPAs, and this is the week that I'm spread a bit of love to one of the best bottle shop out there called Hot Burns and Black. And Hot Burns and Black is a craft beer, hot sauce, cider, wine, and just good times, records shop, most in South London. They have 2 venues, and 100% independent, and is one of the most awarded bottle shop in London. And I managed to have a good, selection of IPAs, and this is the one that I'm gonna drink today. Burn Me, Lost and Grounded. It's called the Big Toe, and is a West Coast style IPA, and I can't wait to drinking it. And today I'm having a fantastic guest because he's a fantastic person. Is one of the best friends I have in the industry and overall. And I met her in quite a few places. We're gonna speak in a second. And Gabe Barry is the education manager of Europe for Brooklyn Brewery. And she managed to create communities through beer education since 2008. So she have a quite good experience on that, and she's a certified Cicerone, and she spent the last decade to working with craft beer and food, create multi-sensory programs, and working with bartenders and distributors and drinkers, and all enthusiasts within this world. And this is a special time, and I'm aware she is based in Paris at the moment. And we are figuring out together somehow how to create non-traditional classrooms and new channels to communicate with people within the industry, which is a beautiful thing if you are locked in home. And I really want to start to talk with her about the beer-centric attitude and approach, which both of us have some quite strong opinion about what exactly is. And if you give me 1 second, I'm gonna try to get it with me here. And in the meantime, I'm cracking on my Lost and Ground and Bone Meal IPA. Hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm really good. I've been sitting here getting like emotional about how good it is to see your face and like hear you do the Gabs thing. So good to see you.
And it's my pleasure to have you here. I see there are lots of friends connected as well. I see
Shalom.
Shalom, man. I'm pretty sure he's also probably been brewing for the whole morning. So thanks for being here, T. It's great. And Miss Guy, thank you very much to have you here. And how have you been in these days? Everything?
Woo, yeah. It's really good to be here, Mr. Gab. I like when we are together because your name is my name too. Uh, I've been okay. For me, I feel like we're kind of grieving a little bit sometimes. Like we're grieving for like something that has passed, and with this, grief allows something in your heart, feel something so that you can feel other things. And I've been applying a lot of what I applied to grief to what's happening right now. And for me, grief is sometimes like waves, and it's like water, and it's overwhelming at first. It's like surfing. Not that I surf, but like I've heard it's like this, like you get overwhelmed, knocked down by a wave, but then when you learn how to ride them, you at least know the wave is coming. And so I've been trying to kind of treat a little bit of what's been happening kind of like that, and like water. So today's good, and I've been really excited to talk with you, so I'm looking forward to that.
And I haven't mentioned yet that you are into this very special, place. And for me, or one of the few people, probably I can count them on my fingers on one hand, of people that I met in more than one country. Actually, three for now.
Yeah, I know. Do you remember what I feel like is our first like real time that we hung out, when we were here in Paris for the pop-up bar in 2018, and towards the end of the evening, it was like you and me and a very wild German man sitting at the table together. And it was like this like really wonderful, like I remember you and I just kept looking at each other and being like, this is special. It's really intense, but it's also really special.
It was very special. I mean, an Italian boy who's based in London, who spent a night in Paris with the company of, an American girl and a German guy, which probably been all around the world as well. And I'm like, yeah, okay, this is a good life. I like that.
I love that. I loved it. It was such a good time. Yeah.
It's the beauty. Is what we were discussing many times is, how lucky we are to being part of this industry, and also how hard we were working to, trying to, feel ourselves in our element. And I'm sure many people are going to be able to understand what I'm talking about today. And the Brooklyn Brewery is around from a few years right now, right?
Couple 2-3 years, yeah. It's crazy. We've been making beer since 1988. I mean, officially a business since 1988. And yesterday I was on a call that happens 3 times a week, where Steve Hindy, our founder, was talking about how he was texting the mayor of New York City, giving him ideas for what he should do, in the reopen. So while we are a global brand that, has allowed me to travel much of the world and be sitting here in Paris right now, it still feels small in a lot of the ways. And I think that's, something that I think is really a bedrock of what makes a beer-centric life, or what makes like the life that we all live, which is beer in the center of so much of what we do. And not only beer, but hospitality. Also, exactly. You really hit the nail on the head with that as well.
I remember the first time someone asked me, so you working in the beer industry? I was like, yeah. So you drinking? Yeah. It was like, yeah.
Always.
So you serve and you drink beer. It was like, yeah. Well, yeah, this is a big chunk of what I'm daily doing, but there are also many other things. And the guy was like what? And I was like, trying to build communities, and using the power of this beautiful liquid, and in the meantime, I'm gonna pour in my glass. And
I know. I was like,
saying,
can I open my beer cap? Or
please, let's
actually, I chose this bottle opener really intentionally for you.
Oh,
Italian.
Dicio.
Italiano.
Oh man, this is a nice touch. Thank you.
This is hospitality, Gabs. It's intentionality, you know? Like,
I decided to drink as well. I lost in grounded because I'm aware you made a beautiful beer a couple of months ago, right? With this guy.
We did. Lost in the crowd. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh,
Digital for now. In person very soon.
I know.
It's gonna happen.
So what kind of, I was about to launch into how much I miss my friends, but I think we'll save that for a little bit later. When we first started talking about sitting and chatting about like beer centric lifestyle, I was like, what does that mean to you, Cass? like I have an idea of what that means to me. But what does that mean to you? Which I think communication is super amazing. Whatever you're doing, like clarifying your own understanding with someone else's intentionality and their expectations is good. Deepak, it's good to see your little comment. Love you, man.
Hi, D.
D. But once we clarified what that meant to you, a beer centric life, I was like, oh, so it just means our lifestyles, like what we, and then it was like this pressure was alleviated. I was like, so we can just hang out and have a conversation, like.
This is all about it. Exactly.
Yeah, I love it.
And we I mean, how many times we were sitting and we were discussing about, you know, our life and our you know, work and our experiences with a beer. And that's it. We're not just drinking beer. We are doing things and we are surrounded by the beautiful liquid that we know breweries all around the world can do. And you know, it's like, it's a sense of accumulation. I can come to America and I'm sure while I'm drinking beer, I'm going to discuss with someone about their experience, their memories, the best gig they've ever been before. You know, this is what I like. And
so one of the last, it's weird the way for me personally, having spent so much time on the road, for the last like 5 years, but most recently, like this year, I was on the road really heavily. And one of my last trips was, a lot of it was in the UK. And I spoke at this wonderful Brewers Journal event at Northern Monk that was really wonderful. And Paul from Cloudwater was one of the last people to speak that day. And Paul had some really insightful kind of messaging around the way that beer is something that we, it's become this like integral part of the like the way that we sometimes we are talking to the beer, we are talking about the beer, we are talking about the technical side of that, but in so many ways we're speaking over our beer to someone else, and that beer kind of serves as this middle ground to create some kind of other communication, a bit of a cultural connector, if you will, to different sides of what makes us passionate people. And that's something I think we should kind of, in the things that will change after COVID, like, let's keep that. Like, let's
please, please, let's do that. And you know, I remember as well, we've been together in a bar, and I remember you approaching the people that were working behind the bar in a way which some people think just if you've been working behind the bar, you're capable to do it. It's like a, you know, like a code, like a way to behave.
100%. Yeah. I don't remember exactly which example you're talking about, but I do know that I have been known to do that in the past. On more than one occasion, I've been asked to stop bussing glasses in a bar that I don't work at. I think there's a lot of other people on this interaction right now that probably do the same thing. And that's the, you know, hospitality and beer people, hospitality people, it's almost this code, this rule of that no one gets into this to like because they want to like become wildly famous or because they want to earn $1 bazillion. We do this because it means something to us, and we do this because we get a release from being able to curate these moments for someone else to feel something. And I think that's something that for me personally has been really absent and has been a little sad and hard to deal with in being quarantined and being in the house is being able to make someone feel something. So I've been trying to do that where I can here and there, but also looking really inward and kind of thinking about what do I need when I spend a lot of time taking care of what other people need. It's important to take care of yourself as well.
I don't know if I ever told you about the place where I first had the chance to listen your way to speak to bartender was when I was working at Mother Kelly's in E2, and you were sitting at the bar with Claire, and someone arrived and, you know, just had the wrong attitude, and you were like, just, you know, this is a craft beer place. I'm surrounded by people that understand what I'm standing for, and
yeah.
there is nothing going to happen that is going to let me feel bad. If you want to let me feel bad, or if you just, this is what happened. It just, no way. And
one of my favorite memories from the road back when I used to be there. I did this beer dinner in Norway, in Trondheim. I think it was in 2018. In the spring, and it was a 13-course beer dinner, which in my personal opinion was a little bit too long. But sorry, Christian, wherever you are, it was 13 courses, 2 beers per dinner, or per course, with fresh glassware on each course, like polished, not warm when it touched the table. And as once we were rounding like the 5th or 6th course, I was like, who is washing the dishes? Like, what is going on? And they're like, it's this like 13, 14-year-old girl in the back, like just like washing dishes. It's just her by hand. I was like, are you fucking kidding? Are you kidding me? Like, seriously? So at the end of the dinner, 5 hours later, true story, as I was closing it out, instead of, obviously I brought up the chef, but I was like, I think we know the true star of this evening is the dishwasher. And like everyone like stood up and applauded and gave like a round of applause. And she was like, oh my God. Like, it was like she like won a James Beard Award or something. Cause in my heart, she did. And like, it's the intentionality and it's the time that you take to make something special, and also knowing that it's not about you a lot of the times, and you're a conduit of someone else's kind of experience, if you will.
Yep. And you know, and every place where we've been, I always remember these, you know, lovely positive attention to everyone is making your night magic, everyone is making your experience remarkable. And I guess it's because that's the reason, because I started to, you know, when I'm going around and working and I'm meeting people and we're going to do events and stuff, I'm always saying, you're the ambassador of the night. I'm here, I bring in beer, I'm bringing nice chat, activity, events, plays, you know, I can do all this kind of stuff, but this is a 14 people job tonight.
Yep.
You are the ones that are making the magic. So 100%, Gabe, 100%. This is the thing. And you know, another thing that I always love as well is how little discriminatory is the industry as well, which means something, right?
I mean, everybody drinks beer and everybody has to pee. Not everybody drinks beer, but everybody does have to pee eventually. And I think that kind of, you know, that was a little bit cheeky, a little bit of a joke, but I think the reality of the fact that beer is for everyone, hospitality is for everyone. And it's something that from the dawn of civilization, from the Tigris and Euphrates River to us digitally having a beer while our friends watch, that's something that's very universal and timeless. And I think when we are looking forward towards this post-COVID world that we will all have the privilege of living in, I think it's important that we think about the things that we're maybe done with, whether that's on a personal or professional level, and kind of look forward to the world that we want to be living in, and looking in moments where we can kind of look at things that maybe we're not super the perfectest way that to exist. So I'm trying to be really positive right now. But you know, looking forward to the world that we we have this opportunity to address some things, whether that be diversity, whether that be inclusivity, you know, the class. Like there's a lot of things that we have the ability to relook at, and we have a lot of we got a lot of time to do that right now. Another thing, in addition to my like water and waves metaphor that I've been thinking about a lot throughout all of this, is the marathon, not a sprint, and kind of letting that be, you know, where your thoughts go one day, knowing that you have a few days to let those kind of percolate, let those brew, and from therefore you can maybe form a fuller idea or form something that is a little more productive, if
Productive. No, 100%. We're all speaking about come back to normality, and I'm like, come back to a better normality. That's what I'm talking about, right?
Cheers to that. Yeah,
you know?
that's very real. Ting.
I saw Alex connecting
I know.
as well.
Hi, Alex. Oh.
Which we've been discussing about how many things you can change to make everyone happy in an ecosystem, instead of just make yourself happy into the ecosystem, you know?
I mean, I don't know if this is where you were going with, oh, Alex, you know it, girl. Alex and I are both addicted to jars. That's like in a very real way. That's basically like why I live in Paris, is because I have an unlimited jar. No, I'm just kidding. But I do have access to a lot of jars here in Paris. I threw myself off kilter, but now I'm back. Alex is, I think, a really wonderful example of an individual that so selflessly, whether it's the work that she does for London Fields Brewery, whether it's me being hungover on her couch, and bringing me avocado toast and coffee just the way I like it. Oh, yeah. Shade, like Casa Moyle White was a really good one for a while. But yeah, she's one of the most selfless people that I've ever encountered in my whole life. So
and she's kind. When she's going to bars, she always say hi to the people, something that I learned. But the hi, then it's not just like, hi, how are you? You know, like the London way. How are you? They're not expecting you to answer. So you feel like...
She's like, how you doing, mate? No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
But, you know, the actual, how are you?
Yeah.
How is your bar? How is your, you know, how are you going? And
yeah.
How's your life? And since then, I realized as well, asking, you know, help, or like as well, what's good in your bar? What would you recommend? It's sense of respect for the people that are working there.
I think also from a hospitality perspective, that's, in my opinion, the difference between an A team and a B team, when it comes to hospitality, is the ability to ask for help when you need it, and not when you're in the weeds and you're like, I need a bar back, like I need someone to like refill my ice, like I'm out of stock on this and this and this, and being able to ask for help is something that really, not only in your personal life but also behind the bar, that's really, really important. And I've been thinking a lot lately about hospitality, like kind of what we do these days is all tied to hospitality, but we're more on the producer side of things.
Yep.
I've been thinking a lot more about the spaces where we interact with these beverages and where we interact with each other. And I think we can take a lot of the lessons that we learn about what makes us good bartenders or what makes us good bar managers. I think we can start to think about that again in our everyday lives again, because we're almost being stripped down to this simple reality of the basics. We've gone to a very back to basics place in our world. You were talking about a cat that keeps coming into your house looking for love, food, or I forget what the third thing was, but like
spy around, see what am I doing?
Exploration.
Yeah.
And that's really like all we all want these days. It's love, exploration, or food, you know?
Basically, yeah. We could learn a lot from cats in this day, to be honest with you, because you know, but taking off the, you know, the
my cats.
That's all right. Taking off the you know, the social aspects, or the social aspect how we are normally intended there. It's a big chunk of you know, of our time and our you know, geographical way to explore our words. Then is just gone, from a day to another.
Yep.
And you'll be like, okay, so I need to rely to my liquid in a way that maybe is different from before. And I'm going to order some stuff on websites. So much is being cutted away from how we normally perceive beer. And,
Yep.
and we have time to understand as well, okay, so wherever I'm going to go back to, normality, I want to speak with people again. A lot.
Oh, I know. And I mean, we were talking a little bit before about how there is this wonderful opportunity that, like, on Sunday, I hung out with someone in Fort Greene, Brooklyn, someone in Queens at a brewery as they produce beer, going out to the people in New York. I texted with someone in Tokyo and then hung out with someone that's in the UK. So there's this wonderful playground of people, but that isn't the same as being able to sit with a pint and to be able to sit there with a friend and just kind of shoot the shenanigans, if you will. I see Kareem. Kareem, hi. It's so I was so happy when I saw my friend Kareem. It's actually, so it's supposed to be Paris Beer Week right now, and that doesn't mean that it's not Paris Beer Week. But it's, oh my goodness, all the Parisians are just hopping on now. Italian Parisians. Paolo, hi. But I think that Kareem was asking about the UK beer and how UK beers are affected. Do you want to touch on that at all? How are you? I never asked you how you personally are doing. I said how I was doing.
It's a tough one because, there are two different type of people right now discussing about what's going on. And you have the uber positive people, and most of them aren't, super focused on different situations around the world, which I am for reasons. And then knowing what's going on in Italy, knowing what's going on in Spain, knowing what's going on in other places around the world, I'm aware about the physical limitation that you could have going in a bar, in a pub.
Yeah.
And, the actual culture over here. So basically, pubs can be open soon. This is what I think.
I know.
And people have to rely on off-trade. And relying on off-trade means that maybe pubs could do off-trade. But pubs are for the British people, the churches for Italian people. You are going there to doing something special because you can't do that anywhere else. And that's why the cask.
And the pub it's short for the public house. Like, it is one of my first times in London, maybe actually my very first time in London. I met someone that was writing a book on the history of tactile military decisions that were made in pubs in the UK. And it is this kind of similar actually with Paris, of not the tactile military decisions, sorry. But the fact that, oh, you like that, Italy.
Hello.
The fact that, cafes have been such a strong part of our world, even through wars, even through everything that's happened, it's always remained. And with the UK pubs, it's like, where does that old man go? Like, when the pub is closed?
Yep, correct. It's not just about us craft beer people not capable to, catch up with the newest products out there. It's about, wow. So, how am I going to spend my day? How am I going to meet my friends? I don't know Instagram. I don't know Twitter. I'm out of Facebook. What am I going to do?
Can I admit something to you, Gabs?
Please do it.
I think that that's actually kind of cool. And I think that as much as I love the Cloudy Kids and I love the Haze craze and I love the fact that all of what craft beer has been over the last 15 years, the last 50 years, I love all of that. I think there's something that's incredibly humbling and kind of amazing that we have this opportunity to almost like go beyond that, and we have this opportunity to like show that guy, this like mythical old man sitting at a pub that we're talking about. We have this opportunity to almost like weave ourselves together, almost quilt like, you know. We have this idea of like old man sitting at the pub. We have you and me, two different like pouches on the quilt that are sitting here. We have someone in Paris that works for a brewery that's a bigger brewery. We have we have all these different like parts of the hospitality world all together, and you know what brings us together and what the thread in that quilt is hospitality and fermentation. And that is the thread that sews this all together. And so although we may feel like single patches right now, the world is leading us to this quilt once again. I was like struggling with the metaphor. I was like, I'm the patch and you're the thread.
Perfect. Bang on. I love it.
And it's easier said than done. You know, we don't know exactly how that's going to go, but I think all of this has given us this opportunity. It is a challenge and it is hard, but I think we have this opportunity to kind of like reevaluate what's really important. Again, going back to that personal and professional.
Yeah. Well, again, you know, I've been discussing beer things with everyone, and it's a mix of beer things come back to life and come back to beer and then come back to life. There isn't any, you know, differences between the two. It's a whole thing.
Is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. Beer is life. Life is beer.
Yep. Oh, you couldn't say any better than that. And you know, again, I know there is a big need of scream from day to day. Just go and get the pillow and scream, or go outside. In Italy, there is this new trend, and people at 9 p.m. just open up the window in cities and towns and start to do Tarzan sound. You know, like that.
Well, that makes me think of the Norwegian tradition from back in the day, from the olden days of brewing, when Norwegian brewers would pitch the yeast, and it was still before yeast and fermentation was scientifically defined. And so brewers would scream as they were pitching the yeast as a way to scare away any unhealthy or any bad demons of fermentation. So perhaps we're just all scaring away the demons. And we should, instead of cat cafes, 2021 is going to be scream cafes.
Out from the window or out from the cafe. Well, you know, again, but this is the thing. It's like there is a sense of urgency than some, you know, people, cultures are able to express in a more quick and effective way compared to other ones.
Yeah.
And you know, some Italians are really relying on steaming off continuously, and that's an interesting one when you're watching, for example, the beer industry down there. There are people are really doing incredible things, like trying to, you know, find ways to cooperate with restaurants. So there are people that send boxes around Italy, not just an area, fighting against the actual rules and laws, which are really, really bad. But they're capable to send, you know, raw ingredients to people around the country and let them cook these ingredients during a live, as we're doing right now, me and you. And then all of these people are asking, so for how long you say I should like fry the garlic for? And in the meantime, they're all gonna have the finished dish, doing a photo and drink a beer with it, which is like, oh, why? Okay.
That's amazing. I thought that you were gonna go a little bit more, like, in my mind, I was going very stereotypical Italian of like the photos I've seen of them like pulling up like baskets of like to old people baskets of produce, but that's really cool too.
Oh man, that I mean, this is the new Instagram, the new WhatsApp over there.
That's amazing. I have to give a little shout out and a little bit of love to my home turf of the United States right now. and specifically my home market of New York City. I've been so impressed with the New York City Brewers Guild, and then also the New York State Brewers Guild. The New York State Brewers Association, of doing a really wonderful job, not only of keeping everyone informed about what's going on with the legality, with the laws, about because we have very different laws around delivery and sale and consumption of alcohol. We have a silly old 3-tiered system, which is different than a lot of places in Europe and around the world. But I'm really impressed with the sale of breweries really just continuing to remain open, continuing to be there for people. Oh my goodness, my friend from Brazil. But it's like kind of being able to remain a hub for people, and being able to be something that people really need. I think about this sometimes, that scene in Almost Famous, when Penny Lane is talking about how if you ever get lonely, you can just go to the music store and visit your friends. And that's something that I think about a lot with beer, about how sometimes when I'm lonely, I can just like pull out a beer and I can visit my friends, and I can think about my friends that made it, and I can think about the story that went into it, because beer is about people and beer is about stories. It's about the places where the beer is made. It's about the places where that beer is consumed. And I have to say that New York City and New York State are doing a really wonderful job of keeping that up. I wish that like Finback could ride a bike across the ocean to bring me some amazing whale tails, but I guess I'll just have to wait until Air France is up and running again.
Basically. You can't have tipo pills from Birrificio Italiano right now anywhere,
no,
really.
I know, and this happened a little bit before COVID, but didn't the tariff change everything, and that Birrificio Italiano won't be distributing tipo pills outside of Italy for the foreseeable future because of I remember like 2/3 of the details of this story. So if anybody else remembers, chime in. And if not, we can just talk about this another time.
Oh, well, it's very simple, right? So the style the beer created style.
Yeah.
Italian business. So there are a massive interest out there on that specific beer, because it's an interpretation, and it's a really, quite new sub-interpretation of a really established style. And for the love that US people and US brewers have for hops, that's brilliant. And as much as European love, American hops, in the US there is a massive interest on this kind of non-massive citrusy or non-massive tropical hops. So that's why that beer became well established. I guess it's a very similar problem that some Belgian breweries found. They don't produce enough.
Well, my understanding with what happened with tipo pills was that because of let's just blame it on patriarchy and Trump, that there were some changes to pasteurization of things that were able to come into the United States, and so a lot of wine producers were unable to bring things over in the same way, and that in a similar way that the tankers that had come over, because it's unpasteurized and then would get packaged on the other side, that kind of had changed as well. But again, that's like something that, it's funny how quickly our things that were a part of our lives have so drastically changed that now it's like, will we even be able to go to see our friends in Italy or the United States? And of course the answer is eventually, but patience is a virtue now, and
well, you mentioned Brazil before. I would love to see what's going to happen in the place soon, and that man, whatever, and I had an interview last week about how for brewers is going to change finding mainland Europe ingredients for making beer. And the brewer Chris from Two Tribes was positive enough. He said we may gonna be fine, and some other ones are being like, you're not gonna find anything else than British beer made with British ingredients after 2021 second half. So
What do you think?
I don't really know, because these crises made in many people's heads grow an idea about this is not the right time to build more walls.
Yeah.
That actually we should create more bridges, and this is what we live is the clear example of why you should build more bridges, more walls when you have enough walls already, you know?
Yeah. No, that's very true. That's very valid. I think also, I think this was kind of already starting to come for the beer industry, of this idea of like, I think the hyper local, I think, is something that is almost something that's really important, not only for the beer that exists, but for the people and the places. I don't think that's the only thing that exists. And I don't think that's the only thing that should exist for what craft beer is and what beer is. But I think that has this really special place. But I think that also has a different way of hyper local. Doesn't necessarily mean that has to, that could be an event that happens in a specific place. That could be a collaboration. And it doesn't necessarily mean just supporting breweries that exist within a 5-mile radius of you, or a 2-kilometer radius of you. So I don't know.
Well, again, we need to preserve the risk of losing the players that we love out there. I remembered I was sitting with AD in New York, in our tap room, and it doesn't exist anymore.
What tap room? When? Where was I? Why didn't you invite me?
So that was our all wood-made tap room, massive, vast, that you could reach by walk from Brooklyn Brewery. And I think there is
about Radagast?
Say it again?
Are you talking about Radagast? It was German.
I had all sorts of type of beers in that place, and they were like very focused on mainland Europe. But trust me, it's by walk. You can work from.
It must have been Radagast. If it was
Green Point.
Oh, Green Point Beer Works, or Green Point Beer Now. Yeah.
I was checking it because I love the place, and I saw boom.
I think that they are still there. I believe that they're doing a lot of in this current like era of things. If it might be a different place than we're talking about. Okay. But a lot of that type of brewery are doing a lot of takeaway. Again, we've talked about how does the small player convert to an off-prem or an off-trade kind of consumer ability, and the ability to have someone come in and buy a beer and take it away. That's what I've seen a lot of those folks doing. But I've been out of the New York City game for a couple of years now, so what do I know?
I'm telling you what we should do. So
what should we do, Gabs?
This has been one of the most popular streams so far.
Really?
And I'm not surprised about it. Is because, I mean, you know, this is what I'm talking about. So we have two options.
Okay.
Or we giving, you know, a hand on today, and sadly we're gonna miss to speak about 7,000 more topics. Or we creating a set like day, then we chatting me and you.
I mean, I have like literally no plans. So
what was the name? Gabbing Away?
What? Yeah, Gab and Gab. Oh yeah, what did I say? I made something up that was Gab and Gab. Gabbing Away. I think that would be really fun. Yeah.
I mean, let's decide if it's Paris time, if it's London time, if it's Shanghai time. I don't know.
It would be fun. I mean, I have a friend who's like existing in his own time zone in Osaka. I think he's in right now. What's up, Joe Serrero? I know he's just like, he's working with a lot of Europeans and a lot of Americans. So any time zone I think would be good for a lot of different folks. Gabbing Away, F2O4. I'm really bad with acronyms. For the win. I was like, what? That would be great. I would love that. I'm very open to that. We should probably talk about this offline, probably.
Sorry. I wanted to see what people comments were putting down. But for now, I gonna have evening course shortly, so I need to set all the things.
Okay.
Gabe, Is there a limit for me to talk with you? Not really. I think I can speak with you for hours,
Yeah,
months,
yeah.
days.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I think that's literally been our experience every single time that we've ever sat at any bar around the world. We sit and we talk until they tell us to leave. So,
Digital for now, in person very soon. And there are lots of people to say bye. So thank you very much, guys, to follow. And it's been great, Gabe, to chat with you. And I hope we're going to do very soon again.
yep.
And keep safe yourself and please, let's catch up soon.
Ciao, ciao. Ride the wave.
Ciao, a bientôt.
A biento. A toot.